Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is A Touch More, the podcast. We are thrilled to be here. This is a long time coming. That's why we had to get in the studio. First episode. We're so excited. Got a lot to talk about.
We do. Everything from sports, culture, politics, how it all intersects with women's sports. I'm going to be dropping some hot takes. I don't know about you.
I'm more of a lukewarm take person, but they might get hot.
And we'll see when that mic's in front of your face all the time.
Yeah, you're right. There's so much to talk about today. We have been obsessively watching the Olympics. So much to cover, so many headlines. I have 18 apps. I'm constantly switching between Paris time and New York time. It's stressing me out. I'm missing stuff. It's driving me nuts. Thank God.
How are you switching? Because I'm doing
there's like
on
a
my
toggle.
hand.
There's a little
1, 2,
toggle
3,
in
4,
the app.
5, 6.
There's a toggle in the app filter.
Oh, you know I don't have the
that
app.
I'm constantly.
You know I don't have the app.
Yeah. So anyways, luckily we're here to keep you all covered because, it can be a grind out there. We also have our very first guest. Very excited. It's going to be Candace Parker. She's going to be joining us.
The Candace Parker,
fresh off her retirement. So we'll be getting into that. And we have some segments. We have some parts of our show that were born during our IG live show during the pandemic that we're going to be bringing back. We're going to introduce some new ones as well, plus all that pop culture we keep teasing. Today's focus, we're going to get into some Olympic fashion later on.
Well, I see you have a nice little fashion piece yourself right there.
I'm ready. Shout out to my very first Olympics. This is actually your sweatshirt. So
it's our
shout
sweatshirt,
out to my stylist.
Yeah.
Resident stylist. It's nice having one in your house.
It's been 2 decades since we've had a Sue Birdless Olympics, and it's been great, but I think people are sad. Yeah. I'm sad.
Honestly, it's been weird for me, not because I'm not there. I didn't know how to watch this thing. I was like, how do people do this from home? The last time I watched an Olympics was 2000, and I was, 19, 20 years old. I mean, I think I watched. Who knows what I actually was doing.
Did. It's also changed so dramatically with I'm so happy that we're able to watch it in real time, and there's streaming and there's all the things. You can literally watch everything. But I feel like when I was younger, it's like you sat down to watch Olympics in prime time, and that's what it was. That's where you got the stories. That's where you saw everything. That's where whatever. So yeah, I'm having a little whiplash, but I'm into it. I'm ready for it. I'm buckled in.
Let's jump in, starting with Olympic news. We are at the Paris Olympics. Yeah, so there's some updates. We wanted to give you some of our takes. Megan, start us off.
The first thing we're going to talk about, you guys, the quarterfinal game for the U.S. Yes! I was
about
there.
Football.
Football, soccer. I was there. I was back in Parc des Princes, which is the stadium in Paris, for the first time since the quarterfinal of the World Cup in 2019. It was absolutely unreal. Trendy Rodman scored a banger in the 105th minute. I had such an amazing view of it. Also, it was just right there. Saw it go top corner.
Did your hat block anybody? Were they able to see too? Or
my bill? The length of my bill did not block anyone.
We'll get to that in a second.
Me jumping around and screaming might have blocked some people. I was sitting with Mia Hamm, which was just really cool. I was trying to keep it cool. I obviously know Mia, but it's still just really amazing.
I mean,
there's
Mia Hamm.
This multi-generational thing happening. So it was really cool to share that moment with her. Game was incredible. I'm so excited for them. By the time this comes out, we will know whether they have advanced past Germany in the semis. All the faith in the world. I'm hoping they're going to be back in Paris. So huge highlight for me.
So even though you weren't on the field, you did continue to make headlines. Why don't you?
Me?
You.
Little
Snoop Dogg was there, so that you had the two super fans, two Olympic super fans in the building,
the two biggest fans in the building.
And I mean, we already talked about your hat a little bit. Why don't you give us a fit check? What'd you have going on there?
Well, I had some official merchandise from Ralph Lauren. There are 2 styles of hats. You will be seeing the other style eventually. This one was a long build version, very long. I honestly didn't know how hot it was going to be or if my seats were going to be in the sun. And I cannot afford a sunburn this early into the Olympics. So I had to get the long bill out there. It's cool. It's red, white, and blue. It says USA on it all over the place. And I think it's awesome. What do you think? Are you going to want to wear it next?
No, absolutely not. But she looks great. Hats, I'm like, every now and then maybe, and then I wear it for 30 minutes and
It bugs you.
I abort. So we'll see, but maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Although you right now have the super fan title. So I don't know if I'm not coming for that.
I was proud mama. Out there.
Yeah. But
Girls.
but we do have some basketball updates as well. They're killing it. They're finally done with their trips to Lille, the U.S. women's national team and the men's team. They've been staying in Paris, but they've been doing a little bit of a commute, going back and forth to Lille for their games. They played Germany. They're sitting in a good spot.
Yeah, I was like, give me your takes
Yeah,
on
So-
on the group play and all that.
Well, what's interesting about this is, I want to say last Olympics, they changed our format. So usually basketball is not a sport that cares about points. Like how many points you win by. It's not really ever
You guys
taken
are doing
into
goal
account.
differential now?
A little bit, yeah.
Wow.
So there's three
Weird.
pools, 4 teams in each pool. Top 2 move on, and then they have
Okay.
like 2 wild cards, I believe. But obviously you're only playing 3 games. So almost every team is going to be 2-1 or 1-2. Like there's going to be so many similar records, so they have to break those ties with points. So it really changes everything. Like you can't really rest players the same. If you're down or up by a lot, you still gotta keep on keeping on. So it was different in Tokyo. That was the first time we experienced it, and they're experiencing it now. I bring this up to say, because they won the first 2 games, again, they play Germany. If they win this one, it won't matter. They'll go on. Although they could end up being the 2nd seed in the Olympics. I forget which team, but there are other teams that have more points. So that's actually
Absolutely
interesting.
not. We can't
see
have
what
that happen.
happens. Their last game was against Belgium, and there were some sticky moments. We've already discussed this a little bit.
Yep.
We'll mention it throughout the pod. There's some sticky moments, and that's what the Olympics are for the basketball team. People assume we roll over everybody. That's not the case.
You can't really get your kinks out prior because you have no
you're
time.
getting them
so
in
you're-
real
oof,
time.
Tough.
So Belgium played great.
Stressful.
I think something people aren't talking about in probably all the sports really, but in women's basketball, because Belgium's so good and because Lille is, I think it's like a 30, 45 minute drive.
It's basically Belgium.
It was essentially like a home crowd.
Yeah.
So the entire crowd was going crazy for Belgium. They played great, but we found a way on the backs of Brianna Stewart and Asia Wilson. Both of them balled out. I mean, Stewie had 29, Asia 23 and 13.
Stooja.
Nuts.
We're donks.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to their game against Germany.
How are you feeling about actually going and watching? Because I tell you what, I was very stressed out watching the quarterfinal game. Stressed TF out. How do you think you're going to be? How do you think it's going to feel?
So I've been a fan longer than you in this retirement. And so
Okay,
I've
true.
watched you in big moments. I've watched, WNBA playoff games and finals. I've watched the Seattle Storm. I've watched like things that are close to me. So this is different, but I don't imagine, have you ever seen me play? I don't really get that emotional. I don't really get
But
that.
on the inside.
Only with like referees. I don't really get that. So
Don't
I
touch
think
her
I'll just
mask.
be chilling. I think I'll just be chilling.
Don't touch her mask.
I anticipate being chill. But
What
if it's
about
a
on the
close game,
inside?
you never know. No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be chill.
Okay. Okay. We've got so much more to talk about in this episode. We'll be coming to you from Paris next week as well. We're really excited, and you guys, we're super fans.
And we have some big news. We're thrilled to share that we're partnering with L'Oreal, who's going to help us bring this
Let's
pod to you. So shout out to our friends at L'Oreal. More to come in the next few weeks.
Stay tuned.
that.
Women's basketball has been obviously really exciting and near and dear to our hearts. Spain versus China, July 28th, preliminary round, was sent into overtime when Spanish player Leonor, Miss Rodriguez made a crazy buzzer-beating three-pointer, leading Spain to a win. Megan Gustafson, who plays for the Las Vegas Aces, also plays for Team Spain, and she put up 29 points.
Ballin'.
Ballin'.
Do you remember my reaction to that 3-pointer going
I
in?
do.
I literally ran around the living room.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. First of all, to hit, it was
You
a
were
little bit of
jumping
a
up and down
it was a little
and
bit of
skipping
a
a little
step back
bit.
situation. Hits the 3 and gets fouled.
Tough.
Tough.
You can't
Why are you so
foul.
close?
Why are you stepping on her foot and hitting her hand?
I get the temptation, but that was really hard because
say
China
that.
was in control of that game. And I'm sure everybody saw Yao Ming sitting on the sidelines. I feel like that was the big conversation too. He's like the
So
head
when
of
he's sitting, he looks like he's standing. Tough.
Yeah, long torso. That guy. I can relate.
Man's
Look
tall.
how tall I look compared to you.
Stating the obvious. I know. We're at the same level.
Yeah, I have very long
Yeah.
torso and short legs. Fun fact.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was amazing. And then we can move on. The next day, Nigeria pulled off an amazing win against Australia. They finished that game 75-62. That was their first Olympic win. And there is really nothing
Super cool.
surprising about this. I have competed against Nigeria, or I had competed against Nigeria for probably 4 years. And it was really their ascension from like year one to playing against them. I believe it was at the World Cup in 2018 to then seeing them at the Olympics, which was 2020, 2021. So really a 2-year period. Matter of fact, their ascension was incredible, and they were knocking on this door to win a game in pool play last Olympics. They were right there. They had a couple games that could have gone either way. So to see them win is really exciting for them, really exciting for their country.
Great for the growth of the sport also.
And they have, a woman coach. So shout out.
I love that. I love that. I'm so excited about this. My girls. The U.S. Soccer team is absolutely dominating in France. We do like a France tournament. Trin, Soph, Mal. I mean, most goals for our team ever in group play. They have 9 goals between them, I believe. They're really finding their flow together. I haven't seen them all play this well together yet. I think the whole team is like understanding how to win and how we're going to score goals. And obviously, defensively, we're doing really well. Our girls are flying, and I'm just absolutely loving to see it. And like with swag and flair and
I feel like they're
personality, it's really cool to see.
They're proving my theory, which is, and it's a sad theory in some ways, but
Oh, no.
you have to lose epically in order to win epically. Everybody has a story. It's not a hard rule. There's definitely deviations, but everyone has a story of an epic fail. And then there's something about the next year where you have the epic win.
Yeah. No, they heard all the chatter and all the bullshit around, 2023, the World Cup, and sort of subsequently. And they took that personally. They did. Especially those front 3 up top. And, I mean, Mal Swanson back in a major tournament. Let's just talk about that a little bit. She obviously, unfortunately, tore her patella tendon literally leading right into the World Cup. And that was certainly a huge loss for us as a team, but a huge loss for her to see her back thriving, dominating. I just love it.
Well, this is like another one of my, it's not really a theory per se, but something else about sports that I find so interesting, and I'm sure as we get through our episodes, as time goes, this will get brought up more and more, injuries and how they impact teams, and the fact that we're never allowed to talk about it when it happens. It's like, there's no excuses, next player up. And I'm like, what do you mean? We just lost one of our top players. We're not going to talk about it? We're not going to just have like a real moment about this. Yeah. I feel like that is something that in sports I find so fascinating. Oh, why'd you guys lose? Well, we didn't have 5 of our top 10 players, so that's probably why.
that's contributing. I know. There's like an idealization and like a purification of sports that happens when like people talk about it or teams have expectations or there's narratives out there. And then there's like the actual players who are in it being like, well, this is what really fucking happened. And
I'm not saying to dwell on it.
No, and not even using it as an excuse.
By the way, I love a story where somebody does step in and step up and the team succeeds or whatever the case.
Yeah.
But to totally ignore it, I think is unhealthy.
I'd rather be at full strength. I agree.
It's so bizarre. All right, moving on to gymnastics.
Gymnastics, you guys. We're back. We're dominating again. You absolutely love to see it in just like peak fashion also, because they're dominating on the court, floor, bars, runways, all the things.
Overall.
And on the interwebs, overways, whatever they're called.
Social media.
The social media.
I'll just translate.
They defeated Italy and Brazil to get the team gold July 30th. Incredible. They had a surprising silver finish in Tokyo, obviously. The well-documented, what do they call them? Yips. Yeah, no, she called them the twisties with Simone. That was so crazy. I can't even imagine being Simone and like launching yourself into the air and trying to do what you're trying to do, but being that high in the air, that must have been so scary. And then to come back and be able to do it again and like retrain and whatever, like, wow, just shout out to Simone. She's now the most decorated American gymnast in Olympic history. It was an amazing performance despite a little calf injury she got. That scared me because she was crawling at one point. So I was like, what's happening here? But it's Simone Biles, so she's obviously totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on the gymnastic? Thoughts on the nicknames?
Fuck around and find out.
So good. So funny.
Yeah, I think
Golden
it's like their
Girls, so
motto.
funny because they're like quote unquote, I'm holding up air quotes right now, old. Also, the clapback.
Mhm. Fuck around and get blocked.
Do fuck around and get blocked.
But that's a good fuck
Tough
around.
to be a Michaela.
That's a good fuck around.
Yeah, that was great. Loved it.
And yeah. Moving on.
Moving on.
Katie Ledecky
Do we just end it there? Or
smashed again.
do we just say Katie Ledecky 20 times in a row to signify
her top 20
her top 20
times.
I mean, was anyone else in the pool?
If all the pictures would tell you no.
My thought about this is, are we getting, and this is taking nothing away from Katie. Katie, love you, girl. This is taking nothing away. Are we getting the absolute best out of Katie Ledecky without competition?
Without someone on her heels.
Without someone on her heels, someone that she's having to do a side eye at, someone who she's having to go against. I mean, she cannot even see anyone. She's passing them like in the opposite lane, going the opposite way. Like, is there another? I mean, we'll never find out, but it's incredible to see her continuing to break her own records while she's having to provide essentially all the motivation and all the hype. So she's just an absolute beast. It's unreal.
Honestly, I think everything she's done is clearly impressive. When she swims with a glass of water on her head, I'm just like, I don't get it.
How?
How is this? Where's the physics in this?
And me
Explain
personally,
it.
as a self-described excellent swimmer, because I
Mhm.
did swim team when I was younger, I didn't really
Mhm.
have the body type for
Shout
it,
out Mammers.
or a lot of other things. Shout out Mammers. It was basically babysitting. I'm just like, how?
I
How
don't
can
know.
you even hold your breath that long?
No, she has like a snorkel thing.
Oh yeah. Okay. True. Good point, Sue. Okay, men's sports. We're just going to touch on this quickly because it's been a really great tournament for men's soccer. The men are out of the group. This is so awesome. They've advanced into the next round, and I'm super excited for them. And I hope that they continue and win gold. Frankly,
That'd be amazing.
if we could double gold. Oh my gosh.
Would that be the first time? Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think the men have ever, right?
Oh, yeah, that'd be incredible. Anyways, awesome. Congrats to them. Keep going, boys.
I just have 3 words to kind of tie up our Olympic conversation when it comes to men's sports. Pommel horse guy.
Pommel horse guy.
That's it. Everybody knows. We don't even have to talk about it. A national treasure.
Pommel horse guy.
And we're going to be seeing those glasses everywhere.
Gosh.
It's going to be the new Von Millers.
Deep cut.
Deep cut.
Deep cut for the homies.
So obviously watching all these Olympic sports has gotten us, you know, a little nostalgic. We
In
have
our
some
feels.
We got some feels, we got some memories.
Yeah.
When you think of the Olympics, what's coming up for you?
Well, I have varied Olympic experiences.
Mhm.
The first Olympics was everything I could have ever dreamed of as a child. It was literally like, it was so incredible. We obviously won the gold medal. We had exciting matches. It was my first Olympics, 2012. We had actually lost the World Cup final the year before to Japan.
I mean, epic loss and then
Epic. Oh, we didn't even set this up. Epic, like literally epic loss.
name the team it didn't
We were
happen
winning.
to.
We never played better. We were winning against Japan in the final in Frankfurt, and whatever. We're not going to go into it, but we ended up playing Japan in the final in 2012 at Wembley, epic stadium. It was incredible. That I just like. It was unbelievable. Rio was
Well, do
not
you-
great. I was coming off an ACL injury. I was definitely like, you know, just personally a little bit of shell of myself. We were going through a big transition as a group. We were coming off, what was that, 16? So we were coming off World Cup win in 15. It's always really difficult to go back to back. So this one was actually an epic win to an epic loss. We got out in the quarterfinals, and it was just bad news bears. But, then it allowed me to come to Rio and catch some Sue Bird moments. So that was nice. And then Tokyo was, kind of in the middle. It was wild. We ended up going bronze. It was a really difficult tournament for a lot of reasons. Obviously, it was right in the middle of the pandemic. Things were very strict. And it was tough, but we got out of there with a bronze. Maybe it's going to be upgraded. We will see. We're going to talk about that a little bit later with the investigation into Canada's drone spying cheating scandal, which is just crazy and bizarre and wild.
This is throwing a major wrench into the question that came to be because I was watching you in the Tokyo Olympics. I knew how devastating it was to lose in the semis.
Not great.
And then I watched
to
you guys.
Canada also.
Yes. And then I watched you guys win a bronze medal.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit me. I was like, wait, what's better or worse, depending on how you look at this, but what's better? Winning a silver medal because you finished second,
Yeah.
but you go out on a loss.
Mhm.
You had a chance at gold and you lost
Yeah,
it.
you take a last L.
Even though you took an L in the semis or winning bronze, you go out on a win. You guys were partying your asses off. You were thrilled.
Thrilled.
You were happy.
I had a
It
great
was
game. Me
joy.
personally, I scored 2 goals and it was great. Maybe I went out on a real high, in a bronze, which sucked. But
So it's an interesting
maybe
question.
to be
So-
upgraded to silver.
Yeah, no, you best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You partied and you got the silver.
I think it's always better to finish higher and finish the best that you can.
I
But
know. It's just kind of like an interesting
in
thing
terms
to talk
of the
about.
after party, I will say I have been to 2011, an after party where we lost in the final. It was a downer. It was not very good, and everyone was down, obviously. And this year, not this
It's
year,
a lot
couple
of,
years
like,
ago in
what could
Tokyo.
have been.
Yeah, it was like we were like, listen, here we are. We did the best we could, and we won. So
And bronze sometimes gets mistaken for gold
yeah, if you squint
from a distance.
Yeah. If I've just put it in the mix of all Sue's medals and my one medal,
No,
It
that's actually
feels-
when it stands out the most.
tough. Okay. I was trying to make myself feel better and just burn. Okay. Okay. I've just talked forever. Detail all your experiences, babe.
We don't have time. There's so many. No, I everything from getting. I remember the very first call that I got that I made the Athens Olympics. I remember all the calls, to be honest. I remember where I was, everything.
Wow.
That particular one, happened to be driving to the airport, so it was just a cell phone call.
You're in.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting it. Not that I wasn't expecting to make the team. The timing of when they told me was really early. I just had microfracture surgery, so I was probably 4 or 5 months, into my rehab. And we had one camp that I played in, but I was still coming back and all the things. And I don't know, loosely, I would say April, they called to tell me I made the team. And it was a huge relief because,
I bet.
microfracture is a legit thing. Anyways, and then when I think back on all my Olympic experiences, opening ceremonies definitely sticks out. Every single one of them.
I've never
I
been
know,
to one.
fun
It's really
fact,
sad.
Megan's never been.
I've been to one closing. That's it.
I've never been to a closing. Although in London, I watched the closing on TV and I sat there the entire time because there was a rumor Adele was going to be performing at the end. And
That's
I waited.
why I went.
And I waited. And I waited.
And I
she
waited.
never fucking
And
showed.
I was in there.
Or she was never meant to be there.
Hi, Adele. We just recently saw Adele.
Yeah, we love you, Adele.
Wow, she was amazing.
Yeah, she waved at Megan.
Yeah,
Top
she
5
did.
life moments.
Literally. I was like stunned. Oh my gosh. I died.
So yeah, opening ceremonies is amazing. I mean, it's hard. Like I said, I'm gonna try to breeze through this.
You were America's
Dawn-
flag bearer, babe.
Well, yeah, Dawn Staley was the flag bearer in my first Olympics.
So cool.
So we got to be at the front. When you walk in, everybody chants USA. That's by far my favorite part. Like the energy and the hype that kind of builds as you're entering that last part of the walk and then about to enter the stadium, like in that last tunnel. So unbelievable. And then being the flag bearer in my last Olympics was pretty epic. But sometimes I look back at the pictures.
Very epic.
Eddie Alvarez was my flag bearer homie, mate,
Yeah.
sidekick. Both of us, we never got like a clean pic, just 2 of us, because everybody was on our back.
Everyone
I
was
was
on
like,
your...
get off.
Yeah, they were close
Go
to
look
the
at
flag.
the pics. Get off us.
You
And
needed
because of
some
the
space.
pandemic, there weren't as many security people. Like we needed someone coming up and being like,
Get
"Back
him
it
out
up."
of here. We need a moment.
But it was still amazing. I think one of the things that's most interesting about the opening ceremonies, like the misconception, I think, is that we as athletes see fucking any of it. You don't see a thing. Everyone's like, oh, remember in Beijing when this guy was a drummer and this and that?
A lot of it's for TV anyway. It's like CGI. So they're doing other parts of it.
I haven't seen a thing. Literally not one thing in any of the... I know how hot it was.
Hot.
I know how much my legs hurt because you're standing and walking for hours.
Yeah.
So in Athens, we were told when you see fireworks, get out of there because we wanted to beat the traffic.
Yeah.
And we saw a firework and a couple of us left. Not that firework. Not those fireworks. So we were in the tunnel as the opening ceremonies is still going. And it ended up working out well because Bjork walked right past us. She was like the final, she was lighting the actual torch. And so we got to like see her.
Like,
and
what's
so
up,
we had
homie?
like we had a moment. So it was pretty cool.
That's cool.
But yeah, I have so many stories.
Yeah.
If I could you indulge one more time?
I can indulge, absolutely.
I think my favorite Olympic story was again in Athens. And we stayed on the Queen Mary 2.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just reminisced with Carmela Anthony about this recently.
That was not your last time staying on a cruise ship.
No. We were on the Queen Mary 2, which is massive. And it's got restaurants, it's got bars, and it's got a club. And the name of this club is G32, or it was then. And we frequented G32 quite often.
Regularly?
The schedule, probably like every other day. Because we
Every
played
game
every other
day.
day. Yeah.
Every
No,
game
not that
night
much.
you went to G32 is what I heard.
Not that much. We didn't go every night, but we were there like now and then.
every
And
game
we were
night.
young.
Every other night.
Not every other night.
Okay,
But we were
every
there.
third night.
And we were young, and a lot of us weren't playing because we were young. Carmelo, LeBron, D. Wade, myself, Diana. So like we kicked it a lot. Anyways.
Wow. Actually, all proper legends.
Yeah, fast forward.
Y'all must have been pissed.
Long story short, we were at G32. We were fine. Long story short, the Olympics ends. We're on the podium. We're having our moment, getting our gold medals, and we're people start chanting USA, and we're turning to our family and friends at this point. We're like USA. If somebody could find the video of this, at some point the chant goes from USA, USA. USA to G32, G32, because we know exactly
Who started it?
Who knows? But we knew exactly where we were going.
Yeah.
And then later that
The
later that
QM2
night,
to the G32.
yeah, we're all partying. I think the bus to go to the airport was at like 5 a.m. to catch the charter.
Oh, you did a roll
So we're in there till like 3. It's like 3:34. We're all getting
Classic.
to that moment of like, oh, got to go back to our rooms and pack. I know the story's long. Sorry. Got to go back to our rooms and pack.
I'm here.
And then they get on the mic. And they're like, something's happened with the plane, so we have to push it back 2 hours. The way this place
Another
erupted,
gold medal.
The way this place erupted.
Yeah.
So that's one of my
a good
favorite
one.
stories.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to talk to Candace about some of her faves as well later on.
Yeah.
Because we have some good ones together too.
You guys honestly have a much better experience than us. Soccer travels all around. I mean, my first one was in London, so we were actually in Glasgow for 2 games. Then we were in Manchester, Newcastle, Manchester, London. So, and we play every third day. So it's basically like play, get all your shit together, travel, get in, have one pregame practice. The next day's a game, and then you're on to the next day. We're just like, we are working.
Yeah,
you guys are in one
popping.
spot at least. Like you were
Yeah.
in London, you were eating at Nobu, and staying at the Mayfair, and like
I was about to say it. We tried. We were going to go on a tour, and then we're like, well, we want to go to Nobu instead.
yeah. It was.
Let's go see Big
we,
Ben.
We got a different,
Nah, I'm gonna
different
get that miso
experience.
cod.
Fun nonetheless.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh,
Do you want to
any
go
other-
into some controversy? There's actually been a couple controversies leading into this Olympics, but one bigger and noisier than others. What's up with Canada? Drones?
You guys.
What are we doing?
You guys.
I can't think of a worse way to spy.
It's bad. It's bad. First of all, the risk reward is
I don't get it. In soccer.
extraordinary.
Makes no sense.
I'm just like, in what? You could watch the entire pregame practice. You could be there. You could be on the field. And I'm like, okay, Lindsay's going near post for a corner kick. Like, we already know that because you've watched her play for however long. It is really interesting. It seems like it was a sort of like known thing within the team
For the players?
No, for the staff.
Be very specific here.
No. Okay, this is how I feel for the players.
Because I did read like an email kind of thread that became public. Where I
No
think
players,
the coach,
right?
Yeah, no players.
Yeah, so
but
for the
coach
players,
was like, this is the difference
for the
between winning and
players,
losing.
my
So I'm
head
like,
would have
is
fallen
it?
off. I would have been so mad. That's like, to just do that, to cheat like that, to obviously put all that, spotlight and whatever on the players. The players train just as hard as everybody else. They go out there, they work hard, they're out there playing. Like they didn't know anything about it. And so I feel terrible for them.
Yeah.
It seems like it's maybe given them a little chip on their shoulder though, because they dominated their group play and won 3 games, and as of now they're on to the quarterfinals, and now it's just like anybody's tournament. I was like, wow, a 6-point dock.
If U.S. wins and Canada wins,
Is that
guess
the semi?
who's playing each other in
Let's
the
go.
semis?
Let's go.
I knew something you didn't in soccer.
Yeah, you did. But yeah, from a federation standpoint, to like have that be known, I've seen the emails. That was like part of their strategy, all of that. It seems like it was sort of called out, at least internally. Bev, the coach, has been suspended for a year. There was obviously the dock. I think, the dock of 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
I think the investigation is going to continue. I don't know if past Olympic medals is being called into question. I kind of feel torn about it. I've been joking, like, am I going to be upgraded? Are we going to be upgraded to a silver medal? Is Sweden going to be upgraded to a gold? Is Australia going to be upgraded from not a medal to bronze? It feels really unfair to the players, but there's like, they also cheated, and that's why it just makes it so messed up from their staff to do that. Again, for like, first of all, everyone's going to see the drone. Like, you don't have a military drone. It's not 8 miles up in the air. You have a normal-ass drone that people are, when
that thing,
like, we use drones. Obviously, everybody uses drones. We use drone footage. I actually never liked the drone footage. It was really difficult for me to see, but whatever, beside the point.
You use them on your own practices?
Yeah, we use them on our own because you get the top-down look.
Right.
So it's like an amazing view, especially for the staff to like put stuff together. It feels a little harsh, but it also feels something that, like, because it's the Olympics too, and it's all about like fair play and the whole, I don't know what the creed is of the Olympics, but it feels like it has something to do with not cheating. Maybe they like bring the hammer down, but that feels harsh. How do you feel? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm torn because you have to punish them.
Yeah,
There has to
Like,
be punishment.
severely, yeah. The 6 points was
Pretty
a lot, but
severe.
it also still gave them an opportunity.
Yeah.
So
But to find a way to punish the federation while not punishing where like that won't leak onto the players is difficult.
impossible.
So I don't know how. I don't think it's fair for the players.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No way. That's awful. If they had no idea, which I believe they don't, without
No.
even knowing
Yeah,
anything, I
same.
believe. But you have to punish them at the same time. I don't know. Like in professional, like in a league situation, it would be like a fine, take away picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which might not hurt that current team, but this is obviously a scenario that doesn't. But hey, they overcame the 6 points, so that's their big FU to their own federation.
Yeah.
Wait, they did overcome it, right?
They
'Cause
did.
advanced it.
Yeah, they're advanced. Yeah.
Okay. So now that's points are off the table. It's just winning.
Yeah. I think in general, Canadians need to be taken down a little bit off the pedestal of the nicest people on the planet. They cheat too.
Wow, just the whole country?
Tough.
Blame
I didn't-
Canada.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, when's the South Park skit coming? No, overall tough. I feel terrible for the players. Obviously, know a lot of them, have played with a lot of them. That's messed up, man. I would be pissed.
But on the other side, there is the USA team, balling as we talked about. They have a new coach.
Ballin'.
Do you think, and I actually asked you and Kelly O'Hara this the other day,
Shout out, Kelly.
how much of this is the players are just a little bit older, some have come back from injury, this team was already knocking on that door, and how much of it is Emma's influence?
Well,
Are we
think it was-
approaching a two-truth situation?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to get into it and then we'll see.
Okay.
I think it was Harvs maybe who said this to me, that when, maybe like 1 or 2 players aren't performing, okay, you can look at those players. The rest of the team's doing well and 1 or 2 players aren't performing well, and that's like, Okay. But when the whole team isn't performing all that well, and the team hadn't been performing all that well, certainly, in the lead up to the World Cup, and we did not have a World Cup that we wanted, then we have to look at something else. We obviously have the talent and have had the talent for a number of years. With that said, the players are a year older. They have this experience of, an epic loss, like you said, a really tough loss in a lot of their first championships like that. I can't imagine sat well with any of them. That was so tough. They're obviously a year better, but I think that I think Emma has like a great ability to motivate. I think she's like clear with what she wants. I feel like I understand what they're trying to do out there, much more than I did before. So they look like they know what they're trying to do. They look like they have, not just understanding, but like the swag. Like there's some confidence that comes. There's like some level of confidence that comes with knowing exactly what you're trying to do and knowing everybody else. And then everybody just gets to like be themselves. You can see Trin playing free. You can see Soph playing free. You can see Mal playing free. Like people are doing amazing. So I think it's a big hat tip to Emma. I think it was a tough job to come in only 2 months before. It felt a little bit like because of her contract at Chelsea and she had to come late, the Federation was like conceding a little bit with the Olympics and just being like, we're going to do the best we can. But like, we understand that Emma's the one that we want long term. And so we're going to take this hit. And she seems to have come in and she seems to have the players behind her and they're looking pretty good. They're looking good.
So I can't speak to
They're looking good.
really anything that you can speak to in terms of soccer, like the tactics or the formations. I can't see that. But what I do know about coaches who have a certain confidence, swag, as you said, about them, and I would imagine she has that with her own philosophies and again, tactics and whatnot. Sometimes when that person is so confident and so sure of themselves and they communicate that, which you said, she's a good communicator, it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter.
What the philosophy is, what the defense is going to be, what the offense, it doesn't matter because you're all on the same page and you're all doing it and you believe in it. That's really all that matters.
I mean, when she came out with a double pop collar,
she has been styling. She did have a sweater set. That confused me a little bit.
The business.
I was like, you're looking like a basketball coach with the sweater
She
set.
said,
she was business cash.
Got this.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, team means business.
Yeah.
And we have Lissy in goal. I'm just like, big unks back there.
Shout out Connecticut.
Shout out Connecticut. Like, we always just have this, like, little trump card in our back pocket. I love it so much. It's great. We've scored great goals. And there seems to be a really good vibe with the team, and you really need that, I think, because like it's going to get hard. They're going to be so tired. This tournament is difficult, and they just got that swag going. So I just love to see it. I'm going to the quarterfinal game. This will come out, I think, after that. So I'm so excited. It's at Parc des Princes. Very fond memories the last time I was there. Can they make it 8 straight, babe?
Who are you talking about?
The women of USA basketball make it 8 straight, which is just unbelievable. I just feel like sometimes when you're that great, it starts to like get overlooked. And I just want to take a moment to really appreciate how dominant and how exceptional USA basketball on the women's side has been for so long. So long. Are we doing it again?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. They're good. Where do I even go with this? I think it's been an interesting story to be witness to, both, growing up, being inspired by that team. A big moment for me was my AAU coach taking a couple of us down to Philadelphia. The famous Palestra, the USA team, was headed to the Atlanta Olympics. So it was in that 95, 96 lead up time where they played against, they had an exhibition game in the Palestra against China. And that's the first time I saw Jen Azey. I got to tell her this last Olympics, which was really special for me, but that is my see it, be it moment for sure. So I got to see someone that looked like me, and I got to think, it was 95, so I was like 14 going on.
Oh my
15.
God, you still had that cute little accent.
Probably.
Dorbs.
So that was so pivotal for me. thinking that that was a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I fast forward to my own time on the team. Obviously, so many special memories, even outside of G32. There's a lot of good ones on the court as well. Nothing like winning a gold medal. There's no better feeling. It is the most satisfying feeling. It's like the biggest fuck you to everyone. I think especially because of the expectations, which is going to bring me to this current team. What always exists is this feeling of not wanting to be the team that lost. That pressure is very real. I actually think we do a great job of understanding it's there, but not harping on it. It's 100% what motivates us. It's kind of always there, but we don't have to talk about it, right? When the pressure picks up in game, because by the way, we do handle most teams, but every Olympics, there's always like a game or two that gets sticky. And so we're always preparing for that moment. And that's when the pressure is real. That's when you feel the weight of it all. And I think the beauty of what USA Basketball has been able to do in terms of culture is just really cultivate this like selflessness. All that matters is the gold medal. I mean, if I were to flip it over the men's side for a second, because we watched their game against South Sudan, and it was actually their game against Serbia where LeBron had 21 points. And then while we were watching South Sudan, I believe he finished with 12. And in that moment, the commentators was like, oh, LeBron actually had his Olympic career high at 21 points.
Yeah, wild.
And so that's really what USA Basketball is. It's not about who scores the most points. You're likely not going to get, statistically, you're not going to have huge games. There are some outliers, of course.
There's no volume shooters in the Olympics.
Yeah, no. But that's also what makes it so difficult. And I'll just finish by saying, playing for the USA Basketball team is probably the most uncomfortable I've ever been as a basketball player.
Really?
By far.
Why?
We
That's
have
surprising.
maybe like a handful of practices to get ready.
Okay.
So you're on a team, you're trying to play your best, but you're also trying to figure out your role. And it's not that the roles are so different. You're on the team for a reason. You have to be yourself.
Yeah.
So it's not that the role is so different, but it's definitely different from your WNBA team.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to navigate that. And simultaneously, there's a team on the other side that has been waiting for this moment literally their entire lives.
Yeah.
So they're playing 40 minutes of the hardest basketball they've ever played. And they are a team. So when I watch our team versus Japan in their first game, and I'm seeing a feisty Japan team who's pressing, who's trapping, who's turning the USA over a bunch, hitting a ton of threes. What I'm seeing on the other side with the USA team is just a team that doesn't really know each other that well yet. And that's where the discomfort is.
Okay.
Because if your WNBA team or your college team, whatever, if they got pressed, you'd be like, oh, bing, bop, boop, beep, here we
this is
go,
what we
layup.
do.
This is what we do. We know
this,
where we're going to be. But there's always this moment of hesitation because you're just not comfortable yet. And that's why, generally speaking, as the tournament goes, we get better and better because that starts to settle in. And by the gold medal game, you're almost sad to leave because you're finally comfortable. You finally are like, okay, I get this. I got my, I got a touch to it now.
Talk to me about Stuja really quick.
Stuja.
And it's not really that fair to have far and away the two best players in the world. Like I'm no expert. Everybody just as disclaimer. But they seem, for the past couple of years, it's like they're flip-flopping MVPs, they're winning championships, and just their games, they seem head and shoulders above everybody. Talk to me about them playing together.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say. They're the best players in the world right now.
I need the shirt.
Hands down. The two of them on the floor really, really balance each other and complement each other. Asia, very quickly you would describe as more like plays around the rim more, definitely more physical, has like a brute force to her. When she drives, that's like a train coming at you. Stewie's a little bit more outside in, has the inside game, but can shoot threes as well. Although Asia's starting to shoot threes, which is scary. She can shoot threes. She can move to the three on this team. They've been starting Nafisa Collier, Asia, and Stewie, which is, interesting.
I don't always
it's very
know
versatile.
what those things mean, but I know that when Stewie and Asia play together, and having Chelsea, I think knowing Asia so well. So that relationship's already there. But having a point guard that's like,
Oh, yeah, back to the
able to
discomfort.
just drop dimes all the time, like, boof.
Back to the discomfort.
Yikes.
Yeah, 13 of them. Of
There's
those
10 of them
things.
things.
Yeah.
Go on, Chels.
Back to the discomfort when you have your WNBA teammates out there on the floor with you, it is a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Like just an
I
advantage
bet.
in the moment. Like it really does help. Like, okay, I know this person.
Yeah.
It really does
Something
help.
comfortable. Yeah.
And that's why I feel like when people judge rosters or how people play, or maybe so-and-so, Jason Tatum didn't get off the bench in the first game. It's like, everyone pipe down. This is actually really hard. This is a difficult thing, trying
Not
to
a
win a
pipe
gold
down.
medal. Yeah, it's just some of these takes. First of all, credit
Pipe down.
to him and even Tyrese, because they continued to cheer. They
Well,
continue to be
yeah.
involved in the game, and that's what it is. And the
Tyrese
makeup
better
of the
keep
roster.
cheering.
He played last game.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I want everybody to get
You
it.
need to get the app. You didn't know there
I
was
know.
a
I
game on.
didn't have the app. I don't have the app.
Anyway, so can they make it 8 straight? I believe in them.
Hell yeah.
Usually there's one sticky moment, so we'll see. But I think they'll be fine. I think they'll take care of it.
I love it.
They're
I love
really
it.
versatile. That roster is really versatile.
Yeah.
A lot of hungry players.
Just FYI, we are recording this in studio. So everything we're talking about is from what we've seen thus far. We know there'll be more after this comes out. We'll get all the reactions and everything in the next episode. So keep following.
All right, that's it for our Olympic recap thus far. We're really excited. We're about to jump into our interview with Candace Parker.
Very excited about
I
this.
know. Our very first guest of the season is truly the definition of groundbreaking. We wouldn't even have time to list every achievement or broken record, but here are a few. 7 WNBA All-Star nods. We got to make sure we ask her how she feels about that.
More with the Olympics.
A history-making WNBA Rookie of the Year and MVP award in 2008, 2 Olympic gold medals, NCAA Tournament Player of the Year at the University of Tennessee, 5-time Russian National League champion, and 2013 EuroLeague champion. She was also just named the head of Adidas Women's Basketball, and she's an amazing mom to 3 kids. It is none other than Candace Parker. Candace Parker, thanks for joining A Touch More. We're so excited to have you here. We're going to jump right in. We were at this past All-Star weekend, and we had the privilege of going to your surprise retirement tribute. What are we calling it? Adidas threw you like an amazing party. Tell me, how surprised were you? What was that emotion like? Give us an idea.
I was so surprised because this is the 3rd party, the ACE party that we've done every year since Chicago. And every year I go 2 hours before to do media. And so everybody was just like, yo, it's 2 hours before, like, got to do media, and then we'll probably like get some food until the party starts like around 10, like everything's fine. And so when I walked in and I like saw everybody, and of course like the tears flow, I'm like the ugly crier. So no, I'm really appreciative of you all being there. It was super special. Jussie, emceed the whole thing and hosted, and you spoke, a couple of my teammates spoke. Like, it was just my family. So it was super special. My daughter.
Oh, that was
like,
the hardest.
Layla, you need to get off the stage. Nobody's keeping it together, your mom included. Like, nobody can handle you right now. You're way too cute.
No.
Oh my
The
gosh.
best thing they did was put a box of tissues at every table. That was
I was literally crying off and on the whole time.
that was tough.
Like the
Layla part
entire-
was tough.
yeah.
And I'm like, does
It
she
was
have a career
amazing.
in voiceover work or what?
Layla, I was so
know.
proud of her. She's
She's a star.
she's doing volleyball camp right now. So she's at her training camp. They started, whatever. And so she's wearing the ACE shoes for me this year. So she's wearing the basketball shoes to play volleyball this year. I guess to commemorate. I'm like, so like, would you not wear them before? I don't know. But anyway,
I don't know.
this
There
year,
was-
wear them in volleyball.
Yeah, there was a U.S.
I love it.
women's volleyball player at this Olympics wearing some KDs.
Yeah.
So I think this is a thing. I think this is a thing.
That's the thing.
What?
apparently.
Very quickly, I have to know okay, so after Layla gave her toast, her speech, I just remember feeling like, oh my God, what is it like to have your daughter tell you she's proud of you? Like having a parent tell me is something I'm familiar with, same for all of us, but to have like your offspring tell you that?
Yeah, you're gonna get me misty-eyed right now. Layla and I have been through it, man. Like, if you think about it, you talk about the song, like, shooting in the gym. Like Layla legit has been shooting in the gym with me since, gosh, the '08 Olympics. I didn't even know she was shooting in with me in the gym.
I didn't.
And so I didn't even have any idea. But she just, I don't know. I think the thing that you want to do as a parent is to make your kids proud of you and to like be a role model for them. So to hear her like talk about women in the way she talks about women and that, like, you know, and I love the fact that she's able to see greatness and not go far, meaning she's able to see you and Megan and what you all are able to accomplish on and off the court and field. And then she's able to look to the left and see like, okay, Chelsea's at the Olympics right now and like she's competing. And, you know, it's just, it's so special to be an arm length away from Allison Felix, who has the most gold medal. Like, it's just, it's crazy. And so it's super special to have her say she's proud of me. And gosh, like this journey has been unbelievable.
I think one of the main things that stood out to me in your party, which was unbelievable. I feel like us having gone through these like back-to-back retirement years, we've like had the parties and we've sort of like, you know, been like in on the details. This was like incredible. Like seeing, you know, we touched on Layla being proud of you, obviously, which is just, I could start crying right now. But I think what really like shined so bright was how everyone felt about you and how much impact you've had. And I think even for me personally, I think maybe because we're like kind of part of the same like era and generation, like I know you're Candace Parker, but like hearing people in real time literally talking about the legacy that you've left on them, whether it's Chelsea or Nneka or Sue or the people that you've worked with and like the people that you work with now, you know, they had this shirt for you, which has a big Adidas symbol on it, which I can't wear, which is like so frustrating because I was like, where do I get one of these shirts? But it said, she did, so we can. Can you tell me what that means to you?
Well, first, it's like extremely humbling because I feel like so many others before me and alongside me have done just that. I look at the landscape of women's sports right now, and I think all of us are proud of where it's going, where it's headed, the momentum that we have. And I think all of us have had a hand in that. Like, Sue, I remember flying coach and Tina Thompson upgrading me to go to Australia. Like, they put me and Sylvia Fowles in coach.
No, you're too tall. You're too tall.
And then, like, we didn't have the Russian money, okay? So we were, like, on our college stipend.
Yeah. You guys were babies.
For the summer. Yeah. And so, like, I remember those days where it was, like, we pull up to the Holiday Inn Express. Remember when the WNBA switched to Holiday Inn Expresses?
Trash,
and, like,
yeah.
that's
No offense.
I remember sitting next to Sylvia Fowles on the way to Game 5. We sat next to each other in the exit row.
Crazy.
So like all these things, I think all of us have had a hand in making it better. And now we're seeing the chartered flights. We're seeing the demanding of the great hotel rooms. We're seeing the pay. We're seeing now shoes. And like, you know, it's an expectation for companies to have a woman that is, you know, that represents them. I don't know. It's just, it's cool to see like this landscape now. Like, would it have been nice to kind of have it?
Don't even get us started.
I mean,
don't even get us started. Imagine if you, I say this all the time. I'm soccer, so like soccer's not like women's college basketball. So I'm going to take myself out of this. But imagine if y'all could have had NIL. Stop it. Stop it.
We never would have known what a ruble was.
I mean, is it 100 million? Like, is it 50 million?
Definitely not knowing what a ruble was. Like,
no.
That's what I see nowadays. I'm like, these kids will, in a really wonderful way, because I think for a long time when we would do CBA negotiations or talk about the growth of the league, whatever, the goal was kind of, sort of, ultimately not to have to go overseas for it to be lucrative enough. And that's what's going to happen. These kids will never, in a really wonderful way, never have to experience what we had to experience.
Ever. I just am like the maturity level. I think going overseas made you grow up a little more, you know?
Definitely.
And I think I'm happy for the college athletes that have NIL that are rocking Gucci fits on walking. I'm just like, wow, I was eating Papa John's. Like Tennessee couldn't even feed us. They had to it had to be a team meal, or you had to choose the college, whatever meal plan, or get the money. And I chose money every time. But they couldn't even feed us after games. It was a big deal. It was a violation of NCAA. Now it's these kids are rolling up I don't eat that. They're only having that today. I want steak. And I'm this is
I
wild.
wanted
But I'm
surf
happy.
and turf.
Yeah, exactly.
Reef and
Listen,
beef.
some of my teammates were filet McNunn. They didn't even know.
Yeah. No, it is crazy. We talk all the time, in a joking way, but we're just God damn it. This is just, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of, where women's sports is at. I wish I could have been there, but, I'd like to think that wouldn't be here without us. So I'll just, we'll take that.
So we'll take our rubles and we'll go home.
You guys just keep banking your rubles. The one other thing, NECA spoke at your retirement party. We love NECA. Shout out Seattle Storm and NECA. You obviously played with her for so long. Then she talk about being an architect of this current state of women's basketball. NECA's right up there. But she's described you as having a penchant for disruption. And I really love that. And I love the way that you've done that. I want to hear you kind of talk about how you've sort of thought about this over all these years, from, literally having a child to just the style of play to TNT to your businesses, everything. Obviously, now you're president of Nike, Jesus. You're president of Adidas Women's Basketball. I know. That was a total just Freudian slip there.
They'll like it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
But just talk to us about that, and how do you think about it? Because of course you're exceptionally talented at basketball, and that's something you were born with and worked really hard to hone, but you've done way more than that.
Well, I appreciate you. I think all of us are trying to, women always have to have 50 million, 11 jobs. That's how it always is. We always have to balance a number of things. And I don't know, I've never done well in one lane. I just haven't. From a basketball standpoint, from off the court, the way my brain works, I just work better with it doing that. And I don't know, I look at disruption as a thing where when it's all said and done, people always look back on individuals and they're like, man, that was awesome. But when you're doing it, nobody's like, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. It's teeter-totters, where it's public opinion of you disrupting things or trying to make change. It's never easy. It's never hard. It's never not hard. I think there's sometimes where people are why would you want to have a kid at this point in time? Well, I'm having one, and I'm going to try to do the best I can to balance it. I don't know, just a number of the things, even as a player, a lot of times, I need to know why, why we do things. And you look at this generation now, and it's you see individuals questioning, and people are like, wow, she's so intuitive and she's questioning. It's we were growing up, Sue, man, you didn't question. Pat, nah, you didn't really ask questions. I learned that lesson. And sometimes I stepped on some toes. And so I think now it's just so interesting to look back and say, man, she's such a disruptor. It was so awesome when you all know, Megan, you've said a number of things that I'm sure people have given you a lot for. But now looking back in retrospect, people are like, man, she was right. And so I think it's just always doing what you feel and letting your heart lead what you should do. I don't think that the world should put restrictions on what we are, what we can be. And that goes to off the court as well. Why can't we sit up there and talk with the best of them, because we are knowledgeable about basketball? Some of the conversations that me and Sue would have at dinner about schemes, about personnel, about lineups, about all of these things. Why is it just because we're women that we can't sit up there and talk with the greats? And so I don't know. I just have always questioned that and always asked why. And sometimes I've gotten in trouble and put my foot in my mouth. And sometimes it's worked out for me.
Well, we love it.
I feel like the lessons there are to question things, to also understand that you're probably going to make some mistakes. But at the same time, when you're kind of doing it and you feel true to yourself, whatever it is, whatever category of life we're talking about, when you're true to yourself and you feel like you're making those decisions based on that, it does. Even though it might feel hard, it is exhausting. It is complicated at times, but it is worth it at the end. I feel like that is the lesson that so many people need to take from this. Right? Like this is exhausting. They might they might look at you, Candace, like, oh, maybe see all the accolades, see the family you're building. Obviously, now you have your TNT work, your broadcasting career. You were doing this all while playing. And they might not realize, like, of course she's tired. Of course it's hard. Of course she has tough nights, right? But when you believe, I feel like there's such a wonderful lesson. And back to the idea of questioning things, you had a big question that was kind of looming in terms of your retirement over the last, you would be able to tell me more. I'll just say a year or so. What was that experience like? If you took us back to the 2023 season, you've joined the Vegas Aces. You sadly have an injury. You guys won a championship though. So take us through just your thoughts from that point until the day where ultimately you hung it up.
It's so crazy because I always envision like walking off the court on my own 2 feet. And Megan, I know you can relate a little bit to this.
I walked.
In terms
I
of,
just was missing a part.
yeah,
A part failed right at the end.
Part failure.
That was crazy.
It sucks. And I think it takes, and I've said this a number of times, like your body knows, your heart knows, but it takes your mind. It takes your mind and your heart a little bit of time to catch up. And to be honest with you, do I miss basketball? I miss the feeling of the thrill of being able to play basketball. And I say being able to play basketball in that waking up and just going to the gym, not having to worry about the massage afterwards, not having to worry about stretching, not having to take 6 hours to get on the court, not having to worry about, like, I was activating to activate for.
I know, it's like when the pre-practice is longer than the
What's
practice.
happening?
I'm just like at some point, and my foot was broken. So now I'm like, in retrospect, I thought it was bone spurs. So my foot was broken the whole time. I thought personally it was bone spurs, and bone spurs really hurt. To that degree, I don't know. But so finally I agreed to let them check it out. It was broken. So I'm out for the year. And I have surgery, I do the whole thing. In my mind, I'm done. Like, I'm finished. I start feeling really good in December. And in December, I was like, okay, like I'm not going to commit or anything like that. I'm going to just kind of try to work my way back on the court, like whatever. And so the Aces were like, hey, this is getting closer to February. We would love to just, let's just get it done. Like we can make decisions later. We want you to play. I'm like, all right. I haven't gotten on the court yet, but all right, like we can try to work it out. And then I had a setback in February when I went in for an MRI scan, and it was like, still was 10% from being healed. And in my mind, I'm like, last year was not fun. Not from the standpoint of like, yes, the environment. I'd never had a practice facility. I'd never had a locker. It was like the perfect storm a little bit of like, I had all these things I had never had. But my body was not functioning in a way that I needed it to. Like the previous year, we made it to the semifinals of the finals, and I made all WNBA team. Like I was healthy in 2022. And then it was just like my body just failed me in 2023. And, I had started seeing the signs in 2022 in Chicago, couldn't practice as much, and I was slow to kind of get up, and, rehab started being more. And then in 2023, like I saw kind of the writing on the wall, like I can do this, but it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be what I want it to be. Like I'm going to be running up and down the court with kids that have never really seen me play at my full capacity, and that's their image of me.
That part.
Like, they're going to be thinking
tough.
of me like that's me, and I'm like, no, It was, I don't know. I think Diamond Miller came across the lane. I had no push, no up on my whatever. And Chelsea hit me with a pocket pass. I came across. I didn't see her. No lift on my leg. Put it up. She threw my shot. And I was like, this is a wrap.
Yeah, that's it.
I would have went up and done some stuff. Like, that's a wrap. Like, this just isn't fun for me. Like, I don't want to, I don't know. And so that's kind of was the writing on the wall. I was like, I don't want to come back and struggle to run up and down the court.
Yeah.
And I want people to remember me the way that I could play. And so that's how that's how it worked out. And again, I'm so grateful for Becky Hammon, one of the best organizations, best coaches, best culture. I mean, you talk about like the way that entire team rides for each other and supports each other, like to be able to be a part of that and to go on and win a championship and see them and adversity just shine. It's, unbelievable. So
Yeah,
everything
you just said hit. For me, I didn't miss it after retirement. I didn't miss it until the playoffs started. And then I was like, damn, this feeling, I missed this. But I didn't want to do any of the activation pre-practice bullshit to get to that point. So I was like, okay, we're good. And then, I'm glad you brought this up because I think I saw either somebody told me you said this or maybe you were quoted about the younger players not knowing the real you in a sense. And I started to feel that at the end too.
Same.
Where you're just like, okay, I'm doing it and I'm doing it well and I'm still doing it, well enough for you be in the finals in 2021, to be, for Chicago and Vegas, the next 2 seasons, be a major contributor, but it's still not the real you. And that's how these younger players, and I'll be honest, that's how they're going to remember you.
See you, which is wild.
And this is what's interesting. That's how I think of Dawn Staley. And I mean no disrespect by that. Because Dawn was at the end of her career when we were on the Olympic team together. And that's the Dawn I know. And so it's when I see her college highlights or her early ABL highlights, I'm like, oh shit, like she had that. And so it does it plays on your mentals a little bit.
Yeah, it's tough too because like you keep getting better mentally in the game. And at that point, especially being, Candace, for you an all-time great, Sue, you also, like, you're at the top of the pile mentally and you keep getting better and it's your body that can't really do it. But in your mind, you're just like, man, if this was 10 years ago, I'd be busting your ass. But like, you're not busting their ass. I'm like, dang, these people are running right by me. I was like, 10 years ago, I'd be catching up to you. And it's like, well, it's not 10 years ago, Megan. Damn it.
It's so funny.
I'm telling you from a player that has utilized her athleticism, like you have to become more skilled.
Yeah, definitely.
And, I think I was never a shooter. Like, I never had to do more than like 2 or 3 moves to get to the basket because I would just blow past you or I would just like extend out and use my length. And so when I started not being able to I had to do multiple up fakes. I was like, yeah, that's a wrap.
I don't want to do this.
I'm spinning around in a circle doing up fakes. Like, this is crazy. So I'm like, this is
same page. We're on the same page here.
That's hilarious.
All on the same page.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, so where I was segueing, speaking of being at the top of your game, the Olympics is happening. You're a 2-time Olympian. Do you have a favorite memory from your experience? And is there something that's standing out in this current Olympics that you're kind of taking note of?
Oh, yeah. I wish I would have appreciated it more because I think sometimes you're going through the motions a little bit because you think about our seasons. I mean, we're October to April, April to October, the Olympic break. I had just come off of college in 2008, so I'd been playing all year round. Then in 2012, I was overseas. So it was like, you're overseas, then there's the Olympic break, you're playing, and you're just kind of treading water a little bit. So I wish I would have really taken it in. But I think one of my favorite Olympic moments was opening ceremonies when we were actually walking with Becky Hammon. This is in 2008. We were walking with Becky Hammon and Andrei Kirilenko in the opening ceremonies. Carlos Boozer was there. He had his video camera. And we were able to kind of catch really cool moments. And there was that holding room and we were able to talk to D Wade and being up there playing cards, playing Boo-Ray, and being in the athlete lounge to me was the coolest thing because you got to see people in their element and why people are the way they are. Like Kobe just coming in, just betting it all on everything. It was just such a Kobe thing to do.
Yeah, he crashed our spades game.
He crashed our spades game. I don't know. It's one of those things where you look back and you're like, man, I was with all-time greats. I think Hall of Famers is not even giving them the accolades I think all-time greats just in normal settings. And so that is my favorite Olympic moment. And then I'm a gymnastics fan. So watching gymnastics has always been, I was Magnificent 7 in 96. So just watching the gymnasts, Jordan Childs is unbelievable. You talk about Simone Biles and what she's doing.
Crazy.
It was cool to see, Italy earn their first medal in I don't even know how many years. So I'm just a gymnastics fan. And then, of course, women's volleyball is another one. My daughter's into volleyball, so we just can't.
You must know so much about volleyball
I
right
was a
now.
volleyball player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. I'm actually going to take up beach. Like, once my foot heals, I think beach is like my next. I might be like,
Oh my God,
Chase
you're going to
Button.
dominate. You're going to dominate.
We'll
We
see.
can't wait. Yeah. Olympics 2028 in LA.
LA.
Candace Parker and beach volleyball.
Listen, we just talked about activation. It goes across barriers.
I know, that
and
stands
sports,
no
okay?
joke
Just-
either.
Yeah,
That sounds tough.
Well, unfortunately, we're running out of time. We literally could talk to you forever. Thank you so much. Congrats again on your retirement from basketball. But as we know, you have a whole world ahead of you. You're just casually being a mogul, and I just absolutely love to see it.
I appreciate y'all. Keep doing your thing, man. I'm so proud of you guys. And I don't know. I just want us to like keep collabing because I think like
We're doing it.
women in sports uniting, like there's no better power behind that. So let's keep doing our thing and like keep making these youngsters not know what came before them. Like I want them to be like, yeah, we in the Ritz Carlton, we in the Four Seasons, we're doing all these things, flying charters, we're doing all this stuff. Like,
Why do you think that?
Yeah.
I wonder what it was like
exactly.
back
They
then.
do a whole series.
No, the collabs
No,
will
we
continue.
didn't even get into Russia.
no.
We didn't even get into
30 for 30.
Y'all need a Russia
we didn't even
documentary.
get into TNT. What are you gonna do now? No, we don't have to get into that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you your craziest Russian moment, but then I was like, well,
Yes,
it's
I
gotta
know.
be
It's like,
censored, so.
what's the highest rating?
Shout out
Yeah.
to Anya.
All right.
She said Coyote Ugly. Shout out to Anya.
Sure did. That was how I snuck it in there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
I know. And then
That
how
was
about
hilarious.
Honey, your mom coming up after
Sorry.
being like, what about Diva Club? I was like, did you just bring D Club into this?
Also, she was like 8 feet away from the
Whoa.
mic
Oh, she was
and like
sweet,
looking
though.
at you. It was so cute. She
so
was
cute.
nowhere near the mic. Bless her.
And your brother was trying to
I
reel him.
know. She was just
So
talking.
cute.
shit. I
Literally
know.
so
My
cute.
mom is. She
I
was more
bet.
sad than I was. Like she like
Oh.
shoulder cried.
No, I mean, what
when
do you
I was
realize? Okay, it's funny you said that. My sister said this to me. It was like, okay, so we're obviously losing so much. It's like our lives, our identities, what we've been doing,
Yeah.
our schedule, whatever, all the things. My sister was like, I don't think you realize that I don't have this to look forward to anymore
Yeah.
either. And we
Yeah.
notice it with your family a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't have that, ooh, we get to go here for the Olympics or there for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Or, oh, Candace has a game in LA on this day. Oh, she's coming into town that day.
Yeah.
Or, oh, we're going to go visit her in Chicago. Or it's like your families
It's like
lose
community
so much.
and like experience.
Yeah, they're
and,
friends with the
like,
other parents. They
cool.
kick it in the hotel.
Yeah.
Like all of that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It is crazy. But I will say this. I think the craziest thing is you don't know until you know. Meaning, like you look at retired players and you don't know what they're going through
Definitely.
until it's you. And people look at it in a different way because I was kind of the opposite. I couldn't turn on the WNBA because it was so sudden. I couldn't turn on the WNBA for like a month and a half. And it's still like, it hurts. I can't go to a game
Yeah,
next year.
that makes sense.
But people like I looked at Delisha, I looked at, even Elena Beard. And you don't have that feeling until you have that feeling. And I know some of the youngsters are looking at me kind of crazy, like with retiring and me having to stay away. And, I know Chelsea probably looks at me
it's
sideways,
hard.
like,
It's
what?
really hard.
Whatever. But it's so hard. Like my whole identity has been basketball for that long. So
No, we feel that too.
sorry.
I mean,
I'm dealing with it right now
We're
as well.
still like, it's the thing. It's like the lens with which everything gets put through. Are you going on a walk? Are you going out? Are you traveling? When are you going on vacation? Where's your family? Where's you live?
Game day.
Everything. And now all of a sudden that's gone. You're like, what the fuck? Well, how do I make decisions? How do I do it? It's like that North Star.
I mean, it's 3 days. It's 3 days for your whole life if you're an athlete. It's
Yeah.
game day,
Yeah.
off day,
Yep.
or practice.
Yeah.
That's it. And so it's like, if once that stops, I mean, I go for walks with my dogs and I'm not like, Layla's shocked. She's like, you're not
Yeah.
limping. You're not.
Oh no, that's the
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that is the best part about retirement. Immediately your
starts to
body
feel
feels
better.
better.
Yeah.
almost immediately.
Yeah,
I was
you're
like,
so
oh, my
on the
back
edge.
doesn't hurt anymore. Like just those little things that were always lingering at like a 2 out of 10, just
Yeah.
constant.
Yeah.
Actually, more like a 3,
More like
4,
a
but
5 out of 10. Yeah.
Always.
those kind of like that low grade hum.
Yeah, we'll catch up.
Yeah. Thanks,
We'll catch up
Candace.
soon. Thanks, Candace.
For sure.
All right. Take care.
Candace Parker. I
Epic.
mean, what do you say? I think you hit it. A mogul, like a proper mogul.
Yeah. I mean, I hope she continues to do all her broadcasting. Obviously, TNT not retaining the rights to the NBA. I'm not sure what she's going to do. Amazon better pull up with that bag. All right, y'all, we've gotten to our culture segment, which we're calling The Intersection, the place where culture, politics, fashion, everything meets sports. We cannot wait to share this segment. Everything from Sha'Carri's Vogue cover to Taylor Swift saving the NFL.
Well, that caused a ruckus.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark's jersey sales. We're excited to break down everything that's happening in the world and how it interacts with women's sports. We're going into politics, obviously seismic news in politics. This is
That's one way of putting it.
this has already happened, but President Joe Biden has stepped out of the 2024 race and subsequently endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris, as has essentially the rest of the party, and she is going to be the nominee. It's been sensational so far. We actually happened to catch her very first public address.
Oh, yeah.
And she was just good.
It was unreal.
She looked great. She sounded great. She like met the moment. Not an easy moment. How much pressure is on that moment for her?
My
Sue,
feeling
your thoughts
was,
on the whole thing.
My feeling was watching that, I believe she was addressing her campaign. So watching that, my feeling was, wow, I haven't felt something in a long time. I just haven't felt like that kind of, honestly, it reminded me of the way you might feel when a coach nails their pregame talk.
Yeah.
There's just a feeling, and it's not to say other pregame talks don't matter, right? You still take the field, you take the court, and you're feeling something, but the ones that are special, that's how I felt. The athlete in me felt like, what time is the game? Like, I'm ready to go. And I think we've been missing that. And so
Sometimes
to
it just
actually feel
hits.
something,
Yeah.
that's special.
Yeah. I mean, a triple intersection is now we get Maya Rudolph back. And everybody's pumped about that. To what end? I personally, and I know you, cannot wait for that. She's one of our favorites. White women are also really excited about Kamala Harris. There was a really amazing call following in the steps of a Black women's call, which
Isn't it Win with Black Women?
Win with Black Women, yes. They raised a bunch of money and had like 40,000 people on a call or something. It was incredible. The call with white women was a couple of days later. We were lucky enough to be on that call and be able to say a few words. The energy is just different. I think women obviously understand like our whole entire body of rights is under attack, and the right has made it very clear that they're coming after us. And it was really inspiring to see. I think white women have not always taken care with the power and privilege that we have. So it was really cool to see that many people. I think at one point, when we first hopped on, there was close to 100,000 people
Yeah, the
on, maybe
Zoom
more
broke.
on YouTube. Just rallying around and everything with the idea that like we're following the lead of Black women and obviously of the candidate who's a Black Asian woman. So
Yeah.
it's exciting.
My takeaway from being on that call, I think sometimes I've taken for granted my own experience with Black women.
Yeah.
As an athlete, honestly, really as a basketball player. Because it's almost a shock to my system when people don't know the lives of Black women or understand, the things that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And then on the flip side of it, they don't understand how they've been at the front lines time and time again.
Every time.
In terms of all the important, with all the important issues. And of course, for me, it takes me back to our bubble season, which is really what I spoke about when it was our turn to talk on this call was just follow Black women, y'all.
They always know the way.
It's not that hard. You want to know why? And I'm going to make a really weird connection here, but just stay with me. It's similar to why this podcast for us is important. When you have intimate knowledge and experience with issues in our society, those are the people that know. Those are the people that, again, intimately understand and therefore know how to dismantle.
Yeah. Black women's knowledge is deeply intersectional.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's
So that was wonderful.
yeah, it was really cool. It's really cool to see the energy around it. I think that off that call, there was about $12 million raised, $12 million. There was a white dudes for Kamala.
It even got a white
Come on,
dude
y'all,
call
let's
going.
go. If y'all
They have
want
a hat and everything.
that is the definition of allyship. Get your guys and get in a Zoom call and get on board for Kamala Harris. That's amazing. I think they raised, whatever that was, around $4 million. I think the Harris campaign has raised over $200 million now since she's announced her candidacy run. And frankly, just the opportunity to vote for a woman and a Black woman at that, an Asian Black woman at that, is so historic. And so incredible. And I just feel a huge privilege in being able to be a part of that, and hopefully elect the first woman president. It's about time. Give us a go.
And then there's the other side. And then there's the other side.
Yeah. And then there's the other side. I mean,
Then there's
yeah.
Trump. We can just be quick with this, right? Comes out and says, vote for me and you only have to vote one more time.
I'm
read
sorry,
between the
what?
lines on that
I'm sorry,
one.
sir. What exactly do you mean by that?
Taking away all the rights,
Yeah.
huh? And then obviously he appeared at the NABJ and got interviewed.
Tough.
I have a thought on that. I want to hear yours first.
Yeah, shout out Rachel Scott. She absolutely bodied that interview. I mean, it's tough when someone's just not going to answer a question when, he's not going to be honest. He's obviously, saying insanely racist and misogynistic and sexist things. I thought she was great and handled herself amazing. And she was really good.
So difficult to interview because, like you said, he just puts you in a spin cycle.
Yeah.
He reminds me of.
I'm not trying to answer the question.
I know you're not going to get this reference.
I might.
I doubt it. He literally reminds me of, when you see a movie as a little kid and somehow just something sticks?
Mm-hmm.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I don't remember.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. There is a scene at the end of the movie. The whole thing is that they have to present. It's like a school. They have to present the history lessons. There's this football player that gets up there and he's just saying nonsense. It's computers and the world. And he's just talking. At the very end, he has said nothing. At the very end, he just goes, and they're from this place called San Dimas. He goes, San Dimas football rules. And the whole place goes nuts. Yeah. And I feel like that's what I'm watching when I watch Trump.
Yeah.
He doesn't answer a question. He basically says nothing, but he knows these one little liners or these few ways that he knows his base will go, San Dimas football rules. And he just drops it in there and everybody gets hype. And that is watching him do a speech. That is watching him do an interview.
He should put it on a t-shirt, sell a mug, sell a sneaker.
You should really watch that movie. It's
yeah, tough.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln's in it.
Oh, God. Also, he said that he's not going to debate Vice President Harris. And she said, say it to my face. I loved that. That was great. I mean, I just feel like she's just the kryptonite. And honestly, he shouldn't. I really want to see it, but he shouldn't because he's going to say something. And you know what it is that he's going to say. And I don't know, maybe he should. But isn't it? Yeah, it's wild that we can't have a presidential debate. But here we are. I hope they get to a point where they can do it.
Yeah.
The American people deserve that.
Okay. Moving on to something else the American people deserve. We're introducing a new segment. We're going to have to bring a real foghorn in. Are you a Megan or are you a Sue? This is kind of sort of connected to Bicker of the Week, which is where we share something we've bickered about.
We will be bringing that back.
It's in the same lane. Some of them are bickers. Some of them are just situations. And, you can listen to us share one, which we will do now, and decide for yourself if you are a Megan or you a Sue. The first one, it happened during the opening ceremony. So it's very, relevant to the Olympics.
Right
We're
on the
watching
nose.
opening ceremonies. And at one point, when it was USA's turn and their boat kind of came through the Seine, Asia Wilson. What?
That thing was a cruise ship. That thing was huge.
Well, 590
the other group
plus
was
athletes.
one
594.
country.
They couldn't get 6 more.
I know. One other country was on a pontoon, which holds a special place in our heart. Shout out to the quails at home. We love a pontoon boat. But anyways, ours was a barge.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So Asia Wilson pops up on the screen, about to get interviewed, and she has those Olympic ring glasses, right? So obviously you got the eyeballs here and the Olympic rings all around it. And literally, almost simultaneously, I said, well, I could never pull that off. And Megan said,
I need a pair of those immediately.
I was
Like,
like, ooh, that's a
immediately.
choice.
Where
Asia
did they
could pull
come
it
from?
off, but that's a choice.
Where did they come from? Are they bought? Was it in part of their pack? Can
No.
I buy them? Does someone have
You've
one
been
for
on a
me?
mission since.
Also, the Team USA beret. I need it.
Again,
Bad.
I would never. I'd wear it 4 opening ceremonies and then call it. You're going to find a way to put that into your everyday look.
I've already planned my outfits around procuring a Team USA beret. Somebody needs to give it to me. I need it. Ralph Lauren. Anybody. I don't care.
So there you have it. Are you a Megan or are you a Sue? And we're actually going to want to hear from you. So there's a phone number to call, 1-833-A-TOUCH-8. That's 1-833-A-TOUCH-8. Let us know. Are you a Megan? Are you a Sue? And also, if you have your own stories, share them. We want to hear them.
We could read them. We could read them. I want to read
We
them.
could.
Send them in, y'all. Wrapping up here with just a touch more, we're going to end on pressure. What are these athletes feeling?
Pressure. Under pressure. They're feeling pressure.
They're feeling pressure. It's a weekend. Some athletes have been there and not competed, and they don't compete till the end. Some athletes compete on the first day. They're not feeling pressure anymore. Some athletes compete through the whole time. I know my girlies got to be feeling a little bit of pressure, but I also feel like they're feeling loose. They're in the knockout round
That's
for
pressure.
USA Soccer.
I think I spoke earlier about the women's basketball team specifically and just the pressure around not wanting to be the team that broke the streak. I'm actually going to touch on those 3 scenarios.
Okay.
I think competing at the beginning and competing throughout, yes, pressure exists. I can't imagine going to the Olympics, having the excitement of the opening ceremonies,
I can't
and then
imagine.
sitting in my room in the village,
My cardboard bed. My sustainable bed.
sitting in my room in the village, waiting for my call time. And you have to practice and train, and you can't, you might be able to go see some events, but you also want to rest. So you have, we talked about Candace, about how you just constantly have this like running ticker of the things you have to do. So you're just constantly in that mode. You can't relax. That to me would be the most difficult Olympic experience, to have to compete at the end.
Yeah. And some people, like, they have like a heat and then that's it. Like, you have a heat and a final, or you have a, like, maybe a preliminary round.
Breaking's only one day.
Yeah, like, so tough. I mean,
They do
that
everything
kind
in
of
one day.
immediate pressure is pretty wild. I know. I complain about how hard the Olympics is for soccer because it goes the whole time. We have barely any rest, but it is nice to be able to have 3 guaranteed games and
Get into
get
it,
the
warm up
nerves out a little bit
bit.
and settle into a flow. So yeah,
That's where I'm just like individual sport athletes. That's a whole other. That's a different breed. I have a lot of respect. I don't think I could do it. I always, when I watch tennis and they go down
I'd be one of
like
those
first set, I'm like,
crazy-
I'm done. I'm out.
I'd be a
The
crazy
comebacks,
person.
the mental toughness they display,
Yeah.
and the way they deal with pressure in those moments, I think is should be studied.
I'm feeling pressure in terms of getting to all the events and seeing all the things that I want to see. I am a little nervous that I'm not going to be able to see everything I want to see and make all of the transportations happen that need to happen for me to see multiple events in one day at different venues. So that's kind of pressure I'm under. All right, y'all.
For next time.
Thank you so much for joining us. That's our first episode. We did it. Go team. Yay.